Yes, let's go. How are you, G? Are you ready for this game week? I'm so fed up of international football. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, mate, I am. We are back, and yeah, game week 4 is it's lovely to be here. Mate, so many are on wildcard. I can't wait to see your wildcard team almost locked in. So that'll be good. Are you happy you've done that? Because
Yeah,
I
I'm
think it's the right
delighted.
call for your team.
I'm delighted I've done it. Yeah, I would have just fallen further behind. I wasn't going to have a good game week, and I wasn't comfortable with it. And I just think that there's less risk than ever of using your chips.
Yeah,
I can use this, and then I should be set for at least two, probably 3 game weeks. And you just collect those transfers up, and then I can make 3 in one go if I need them at that point. So it doesn't really, I think, majorly impact me unless there are major injuries or something like that. But even things, Ola Aina and stuff, like late things like that of them missing the game. He was in my team and I've wildcarded. I'd actually already taken him out of my wildcard. But yeah, things like that mean I would have been struggling anyway to get a good team out for this week. And I've got to say straight from the get-go, like the fact that Postecoglou is now Forest manager has just turned me off Forest defence particularly massively.
mate, there couldn't be a larger contrasting style from Nuno's Forest to Ange's Spurs in terms of the press, the defensive line, the in-play management. Like everything about it is like just completely different. These Forest defenders are now, instead of playing deep, sitting deep, playing a lot of the game without the ball, where they're just facing a lot of long balls their direction. That the reason their DEFCON was so good was they were literally just intercepting and blocking so much last season.
Yeah.
Now they've got to play with the ball. They've got to bring the ball out. They've got to have a high line, probably on the halfway line. Milenkovic on the turn. Like, what's that going to be like? So
Well,
I'm intrigued.
we've seen it. Milinkovic
Have
just did
we?
it. He played Serbia, played against England. Serbia
Oh, I
decided to
did
play
watch.
a high line.
Right.
They played a high line against England. They lost 5-0. Milenkovic was sent off for making a challenge up the pitch because he couldn't do it. It was like the perfect introduction for what's going to happen. He's not this sort of defender, and yeah, it's not good. So I'd be slightly alarmed by that personally.
Is Ange going to change? Because Ange, we saw at Spurs, was the most stubborn manager ever. When things were going wrong, he didn't go plan B. He insisted on things like high lines. He laughed at the idea of a set piece coach. Like, is he still that same Ange, or does he go to Forest, at least in the first few games, and go, I've had no time on the training ground with these guys, like some of them a day. Is he going to change? Is he going to go to Arsenal and play deeper? Is he going to go to Arsenal and say it's all right not to have the ball all the time and to not press all the time? Like, what's Ange going to do here? Is he changed, or does a leopard just not change his spots?
I think it would be crazy to try to get this team to play high against Arsenal. I think eventually he'll do it because he always says that's how he plays. That's who I am, mate. That's what he says. And I don't think he'll do it for this first game. I don't think he's going to have to not do it for this first game. But ultimately, I think he's putting himself in a difficult job here because the squad is not built for him.
Yeah. The spending in the summer was really good. Like, they've got some great attackers that can't get into the 11 that they've spent 30, 40 million pounds on. Ange will get an extra one attacker probably into the 11 just by the way he's going to set up, you'd think. Is Chris Wood still going to be nailed? Like, I don't know who's going to be the starting 9. I guess it's Wood for the first few game weeks, but wouldn't surprise me if Wood becomes a sort of second choice in the long run.
Yeah, Wood's not going to be a starter. He's not going to be a nailed-on starter anymore. And I think that that's another reason to wildcard this week if you've got him. He might start this one, but ultimately, I don't think that Chris Wood is going to be the answer for Nottingham Forest going forward, particularly in FPL.
Yeah, and they have got, is worth noting with Forest, Dean, I can speak extended for 60 seconds if you do need to check your Wi-Fi or whatever, but no one in the chat said it's jumpy and your audio is really good. On Forest, guys, this is my take, because I own double Forest defence. I own Murillo, I own Williams. If you can bench them, you bench them. Should you be knee-jerk selling them, you're going to be selling them in 3 weeks' time. they're not urgent sells only because they've got Burnley and Sunderland in 5 and 6. I expect against Burnley and Sunderland, Forest still have a good chance of keeping clean sheets, even under Ange, and I expect them to win those football matches. Don't necessarily feel that you have to sell your Forest players. Don't get me wrong. As soon as game week 6 is done, the fixtures turn. You're selling your Forest assets, even if they do go and keep cleans against Burnley and Sunderland. So, yeah, you don't have to get rid of them. But obviously, if you're on wildcard, don't go pick Forest players. There's just no need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is a bit juddering. I don't know why. There's nothing changed on this to any other show I've ever done, and I'm not sure why we're a bit juddery. So I will try to sort this out.
You. I wonder if it's not you. I wonder if it's our producer's internet, and maybe that's just what's coming through for you. No one in the chat has said it's bad.
I've got it on my phone. It does seem a bit juddery. Let me know if I'm good to continue or if you want me to reset people.
No, Lewis says people saying I'm fine. Yeah, look, yeah. Oh. I think I'm seeing you juddery, but that's because I'm seeing you on the same StreamYard that you're seeing, which is our producer's connection. Maybe, I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, your internet is fine. Okay, great. I thought it should be. I was like, I've got full reception, everything's fine. But on our screen, people, like me and G just aren't quite syncing up right now, and we seem like a second behind, and we're juddering on the screen. But I'm happy
like watching. Oh, sorry. It's like watching. It's like when you used to watch stuff on the internet when you were on dial-up. Do you remember that?
It really is. It's like we're waiting for the AOL noise to start up as we dial in.
I'm just going to go check the football score on CFAX, and I'll be back in a minute.
I did used to love that, and I was thinking the other day, like, I really miss those days of like teletext and you like waiting for the score. What would that have been like for FPL? But actually, like live score or flash score is pretty much just the modern day equivalent, and it's still the same like thrill of seeing the score change. So actually, I don't think that too much has actually changed in that respect. But
Dean,
yeah,
just on that before you move on, what was the number for live score? Do you remember on teletext? 302 was football, 300 was sport, 302 was football.
It was. Well, that was on BBC, and then you had ITV too, which was like 140, which you get a different version, and sometimes they'd be a little bit faster, one than the other. So there you go. And we used to phone up club call, phone up team talk, all those sorts of things. But yeah, in summary, Nottingham Forest now terrify me. I don't want any Nottingham Forest assets. I'm done with Nottingham Forest until I see this play out, because I don't think it's a good appointment. I don't think the squad fits him. I don't trust the assets. Ole Einer's out injured. Chris Wood's not going to get as much game time. Sales is going to concede more goals. They're playing against Arsenal. It might be 4-0. So I'm done. I'm done with Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I hear you. We're going to see Dean's wildcard coming up in today's show. I'm going to be showing you my team. Guys, I've got 2 free transfers. I've got 2.9 million in the bank, and I've got big decisions to make. We're going to talk captaincy, although I think it's going to be a short one. We will put some polls out there as well. What else do we want to talk about? Look, there is some team news. Let's just go through some of the headlines that let's just go through some of the headlines. Dean, I've clipped a couple of things that we've got assets for, and then maybe you can add any extras. But there's a couple of big headlines around Ndiaye, around Palmer. One or two. Marmoush confirmed out. So yeah, we'll get a few assets up on screen and we'll whiz through them. And guys, if you're enjoying the video, do hit those buttons. We would love you to like today. We'd love you to subscribe today. Isak. Yeah, what do you make of this? Like, we always knew he weren't going to be a 90-minute man straight away. But yeah, I'd be surprised if he starts versus Burnley, right?
Oh, he's not going to start against Burnley. There's no need for him to start against Burnley. He played 20 minutes for Sweden the other day. It's not going to happen. Ekitike is a better pick than Isak as it stands right now. Like, you've got a guy that's in the flow of the team and a good rhythm. He's scoring a goal every game. So for right now against Burnley, you're still on Salah and Ekitike as far as I'm concerned. Isak obviously comes into the fold after that point, but we've got Champions League starting up next week. Liverpool got a lot of games coming up. And I'm not saying that Isak's not a good pick on a wild card, because if you want to just accept that this week's probably not going to be his week, then that's fine. But ultimately, he could come off the bench and score his first goal against Burnley. So who knows how many minutes we actually get out of him this time around, and whether he's even needed in this first fixture.
Yeah, he is going to be desperate to feast. He's going to be like, let me get open my account. It's Burnley. Like, this is my opportunity. He's going to want some minutes, isn't he?
Yeah, he absolutely is. And from a personal perspective, like, you're chomping at the bit to play against Burnley, aren't you? Like your first game, like
Striker's
that's the game that you want as your Premier League debut. The higher profile one is next week in the Merseyside derby at home to Everton, and like he will start that game. Like I'm pretty sure he'll start that game. But yeah, Burnley could be seen as a confidence booster, couldn't it?
Yeah, agreed. Let's have a look next up. By the way, Cunha has also been ruled out, so has Mason Mount. That could mean Bruno number 10. But Cole Palmer, he's not. I'd be surprised. Like the press conference was before training, but he said he took part yesterday, but not for the full session. And then for Friday training, he was like, we're going to see how he gets on. I'd be surprised if he's risked, knowing there's Champions League around the corner.
Didn't he play down Joao Pedro's chances as well? What was the Joao Pedro stuff about?
Yeah. In fact, I think the next one we've got a Joao Pedro image. So let's show that now, because the Joao Pedro one's really interesting, because he said the 3 players coming back from South America, Andre Santos, Joao Pedro, and Estaviao. So the 3 Brazilians didn't train. So for all of them, it's a question mark. Now, I would be shocked if Joao Pedro didn't play versus Brentford, but especially if Palmer's out. You can't go without both, I don't feel. That 2 are Chelsea's talisman. Like, you just can't.
Well, no Delap either.
And then no Delap, yeah. So, I mean, he's needed for the 9, isn't he? Like, unless you want to go and play, like, Tyreek George down the middle again, which wasn't ideal.
No.
Yeah,
so this comment has definitely caused some unsettling moments for some FPL owners. Not me, because on my wild card, as you'll see, I haven't actually picked Joao Pedro at this stage.
Whoa. I was going to say, what do you do if you're on wild card or free hit? If you're on free hit, I think you go without Joao Pedro maybe. But if you're on wild card...
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad choice from me, to be completely honest. Like, it's just a bad choice. Like, I'm really gambling by not picking Joao Pedro on a wild card, because I don't really think there's many must-have players in the game at the moment, but he probably is a must-have
player.
I
would argue he's the only one.
He might be, and I'm not picking him on a wild card, so more fool me. But that's how I play the game. So yeah, I'm interested in that. Obviously, all 3 of the Brazilians won't play, but Joao Pedro, I think, is one that you can expect to. Maybe we see a little bit of Cole Palmer, but I don't think we'll see him from the start.
And it is obviously Bayern Munich in the Champions League is a huge game. Like, Chelsea have been out the Champions League for a few years. Like, for them, it's a big deal. So
yeah, Bayern are playing well too. They've started the season very well. They're going to probably smash the Bundesliga this season. They've looked great. Like, Michael Olise is playing well. Harry Kane's playing well. Gnabry's doing well. I've enjoyed watching Bayern so far this season, and that'll be a really good game. So they'll need him at full strength.
I'm going to Lise in my Champions League fantasy team, I think.
Oh, 100%, mate. He's started the season with absolute confidence.
Has he?
Awesome.
I've not even been monitoring, but he's something like 7 or 8 million. He's cheap.
He's really good.
Yeah. Andrew says, Gianni, is that a Glastonbury pint cup? I've never been to Glastonbury. This is actually, it says always half full. Always half full. Which I quite like. It's stolen from a WeWork. My mate works in a WeWork, and we went for beers after work one day years ago, and I was like, quite like this, so I took 2 of them and put them in my bag.
You're getting arrested any second now. We got Everton.
So sorry, I keep putting water in my mouth as it goes.
Oof, painful one. This is a big one. Ndiaye, like,
yes.
This is interesting. This is actually helpful for me, to be honest.
Tyler Dibbling, though, he'll be like, yeah, let me have a run here.
Well, this is good for me, because on a wild card, I've said for a few weeks, I still think Ndiaye is the best Everton asset in terms of an attacking sense, but I haven't quite got there, and I wasn't going to get there on my wild card. So knowing that there's this concern means other people now aren't going to pick him either. So that's good news for me.
And people will sell because he's flagged. They'll see the flag and they'll go, oh, do I need to sell him? And there's a chance he plays. Like,
there's definitely a chance he still plays. But it just means that more people will switch out to Grealish or Dewsbury Hall, probably. And as we'll see with my team, I've got one of those players in the lineup right now. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those by swapping out Ndiaye. But this is a massive absence for Everton, because he's so good. He's so good to that system. But ultimately, it gives them that potential to bring in Tyler Dibbling. And they've kind of got to wait for a natural moment to get Dibbling into the side. So maybe this is it. And, you would imagine if that happens, then, you have Grealish one side and Dibbling out on the other with their socks rolled down, doing bits. So that will be fun to watch, especially against Aston Villa.
Another low socks baller. I can't believe Dewsbury Hall and Ndiaye Grealish, all the low socks brigade, play together.
Yeah.
They go and sign Tyler Dibbling, who's another socks down. He's got calves quite similar to Grealish, to be fair.
I mean, Dibblings are lower than low sometimes, I can't believe there's actually a shin pad in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be fun watching this Everton team this season, and at times they're going to tear people apart. Maybe Aston Villa will be one of their victims.
Yeah, maybe. I can't wait for that game. And I would say about Ndiaye, I saw him celebrate in the dressing room for Senegal they beat the DRC. I think it was 3-2, but it was late. Vissa's DRC, by the way, and Vissa is now ruled out for like a month. So Johan Vissa, the 70,000 managers that have already bought him this game week, he's not going to feature for a while. So what does that mean for Newcastle? The German Walter Marder comes in and probably starts, so he's maybe a good buy. But Ndiaye was celebrating in the dressing room, looked quite good to me. Didn't look like he had a knock. So I think, let's see. Watch this space.
Interesting.
So many low socks. I miss Thierry Henry's high ones above the knee, says Chris. I don't. I love the low socks. I hated the high socks. So look, I'm loving those tweets, by the way, from Fantasy Premier League. They're useful on them Friday.
They were really good. They were really helpful for us. Well done. Well done.
I'm going to give them that feedback. This is the first week they've done that. So yeah,
that was great, especially for our timing. That was good.
Yeah. They're the headlines. I mean, there was a few others which we've mentioned, like Vissa, for example. Watch this space. Aina as well. Again, in an African game. I think it was South Africa versus Nigeria. 10 minutes in, he went off. That doesn't look good. We're going to see Nico Williams right back, fine, and Zinchenko can come in left back, but Zinchenko can't play against his parent club. So I don't know what Forest are doing this weekend, but.
Well, they're going to lose to Arsenal, is what's going to happen to Nottingham Forest this weekend. We got a few questions to address before we move on to the next section. HM10 says, Dean, is Josh King going to be a regular starter going forward? Should I count on him for game week 5? Game week 5? Who are we playing game week 5? I'm only on game week 4 here. Fulham v Brentford in game week 5. Josh King is going to play both those games. Like, Josh King is absolutely nailed on at the moment for Fulham. And his first goal is coming. Like, he is gutted that his goal against Chelsea didn't count. Obviously, we've been absolutely victimised there, so we've still counted it, and it is Fulham's goal of the month, and so it should
be.
So watch out for Josh King, because he will score against Leeds or Brentford.
Dean, is he? You say nailed for the next few, and clearly he is. But when Smith Rowe does get back in the 11. Is it at the expense of King, or is there a world in which they can play together?
I mean, obviously, at some point, Josh King's only so young. He's not going to start every week for the whole season. So it's natural that at some point he loses his spot, and Smith Rowe's a good alternate to come in. But Smith Rowe's going to have to play that role, because we've got enough options out wide now, like signing Kevin, signing Chukwueze. They've already bought those sorts of players in for the wide positions to challenge for the guys that have been playing out there. Kevin is one to watch out for. Like, apparently just like the step over King in training, just like absolutely tearing people apart, sitting them down left, right and centre. Whether that translates into Premier League action, I don't know. He might just be running off the pitch like Ronaldo did in his early days in the Premier League and running out of space. But we'll see what they did. Sokan says, any news on the Brazilians from their high altitude camp in Bolivia? Obviously Brazil had a tough international break and playing at altitude that was once basically deemed illegal not so long ago, and you weren't even allowed to play at that altitude. So they've had a difficult time, but we'll have to see how they come back in. And that's exactly what we were talking about like 5 minutes ago about the Brazilian guys at Chelsea and whether they would come back in. You would expect that most of them will be totally fine, to be totally honest. Is Voltemada better than Gyökeres on a free hit? I don't think Voltemada would be better than Gyökeres on a free hit, personally, because Gyökeres is playing number 9 for Arsenal at home against a Forest team who are got a new manager and might be unsettled. So I personally would still go with Gyökeres, but I am biased because I do have Gyökeres in my team.
Gyökeres has got a lot of love from the analytics community. Even last week, a lot of the analytics guys that pick from algorithms all bought in Gyökeres.
Really?
It's an Arsenal striker who's taking
This is
penalties
what I keep
at
saying.
9 million. That's all people see and the computer sees. And I understand that.
Like, it's now, have we got the fixtures? If we've got the fixtures, let's stick those up before we go on to another section. I think we should have a little image of the games that are coming up this weekend. And if we have, then we could quickly run through everything that we've got coming up and the teams that perhaps we should be targeting or the games that we should trust in terms of where we're going to be getting our points from. Hopefully you can see this one. So yeah, Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. I've said there, I'm expecting a home win. Aston Villa, I think, are up against it. They could be heading for another game without a goal, as far as I'm concerned. We'll talk about the influence of one of their new signings in a minute once we go through these new fixtures, because we do need to talk about Harvey Elliot. Bournemouth against Brighton, a tough one. I'm expecting a home win in that one. That'd be a massive defeat for Brighton if they did lose to Bournemouth. Crystal Palace against Sunderland, probably a Palace win. Fulham I expect to beat Leeds. Newcastle will beat Wolves. West Ham Tottenham is going to be a spicy one. Let's see whether West Ham can cause a shock there. Brentford against Chelsea, would expect Chelsea to see those off. Burnley are going to get a pasting from Liverpool. And Man City, Man United, I have absolutely no idea, if I'm totally honest. It's, probably the most high-profile game of the weekend. But honestly, I don't know if Man City go and put them in their place and win 2 or 3-0 and Haaland carries on from where he left off in the international break, or if Amorim can outwit Guardiola and come up with a game plan that actually works. And maybe Šeško gets his Premier League debut and it pays off all in good time. So as a quick look at the fixtures there, anything that you spot, G, that you want to point out?
No, like there's actually quite a few for clean sheet odds around the 40% mark plus. Most game weeks you'll have 1 or 2 teams that are like 40% plus to keep a clean sheet. This week we've got Arsenal at 44, Liverpool at 43, Newcastle 43, Palace at 43. Now we don't always agree with these, but I'd say they're all pretty, Everton are at 30, Fulham at 35. So and then Chelsea 34, City and Everton at 30. Like there's a load of teams here. We could be getting a fair few clean sheets. It's always worth noting though, unless you're 50% plus, the bookmaker, and these are all bookmakers' odds, the markets are saying that team will concede. They're more likely to concede than they are to keep a clean sheet. So even Arsenal at 44%, if they were 51%, the bookies say they're going to keep a clean sheet, but they're not. They're lower than 50, which means the bookies still think Forest get a goal, which is why clean sheet points are never absolutely reliable. I do think, though, teams like Arsenal, like I fancy them for a clean sheet this week. And I just think moving forward, Arsenal defenders in general, mention Gyökeres, sure. And actually, Gyökeres is someone I want to get in my team by like game week 7 when the fixtures really get good. But Arsenal defence, doesn't really matter what fixture they have. Other than that Szoboszlai worldie, they would have had 3 clean sheets from 3 difficult fixtures. They're just really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Johan says Haaland is surprisingly bad in the air for a striker of his size. I do not agree with you.
Yeah, he's pretty useful. I mean, he scored the headers that he scored against, even for Norway, but he scored some great headers.
Like, I think that's extremely harsh. Just because he's put a couple off target recently, start this season, I wouldn't go as far as saying that. Johan, that is a hot take.
So high. He jumps so well, didn't he?
He's like...
Yeah. He's got hang time. He's like Ronaldo hang time. He hangs in the air and he gets huge leap.
You definitely wouldn't want to be giving up too many aerial chances to Erling Haaland because he will make you pay. But I understand. I think his point is probably that in the early start, he's put 2 decent headers over the bar so far this season. So it's probably there. FPL David says Newcastle's defense is going to be so underrated. Which, could be true. As we say, they're 43% of a clean sheet, chance of a clean sheet this weekend. I want to move on.
Sorry, go on. No, go on.
I was going to talk to you about Aston Villa, but if you had something about this, then go for it.
Sorry, it's because I'm watching your mouth as well, and it's not in sync for me with the audio. I'm keep interrupting you tonight. No, I was just going to say, like, we always go after clean sheet odds and the bookies odds for goals, and they're useful. And I love the Rob T graphics that we get every week, and we'll continue to show them on this channel because they're excellent and they're a really good gauge. But we shouldn't just always live by them. And some FPL managers, the analytics crowd, will live by them. But you and I, Dean, we're eye test guys and probably more gut shot. Like, which ones do you think they've got right in terms of number of goals? Like, if you're ranking the team to score the most goals this week, we'd probably both agree Liverpool are clear favourites, which is why you got a captain Mo Salah. Would you have Arsenal at second at 2.1, or would you have City, Newcastle, Chelsea? Like, I fancy Man City to outscore Arsenal, and I actually fancy Chelsea to get 2+ goals as well.
Do you? No, I think Arsenal second is a good shout. They get 5 last time out in their home fixture. As I say, Nottingham Forest in a bit of a state at the moment, and I'm not convinced that Ange Postecoglou can do this. He did the one thing with Postecoglou, which I should give him some credit for, is he did change his tactics to make them win the Tottenham win the Europa League last season. So it's not like he can't shut up shop, because he can.
True.
To some extent. Like, it's not his style, but he can. So maybe he's had enough time to come up with a plan. But I'm just not convinced by any of it. And so I believe that Arsenal will be, I say will be the second highest goal scorer. There'll be something like Bournemouth. That's the thing. Like Bournemouth, that could be like sneaky good in this game week. I like Bournemouth a lot from what I've seen so far. And Brighton obviously haven't had a great start. It would be a surprise if Bournemouth managed to score more than 2 goals against them, but I absolutely wouldn't rule it out. Fulham definitely have the potential to score 3 against Leeds. But again, it's not tried and tested. So because of what I've seen from Arsenal so far at home this season, that's why I would still say that they're second behind Liverpool to score the most goals this weekend.
Total XG, though, in these games, they've got Everton Villa as I think I've just done it quickly in my head, but I think they've got Everton Villa as the lowest scoring football match of the weekend.
I mean, I wouldn't have it. I don't know
Full
why.
Actually, that seems a bit harsh.
Yeah, I mean, Everton could really, really do bits in that game. I mean, Jack Grealish obviously playing against his old club, so there's an emotional tie to it. But Jack Grealish has been great. He'll set Premier League record if he gets 2 assists in this game. He'd be the first player to get 3 successive 2-goal assists. So he's got 2 assists in the last game. He got 2 assists in the game before that. If he gets 2 assists in this one, it's the first time anyone's ever done that for 3 games in a row. So, I wouldn't rule against him doing that. Aston Villa got their work cut out to stop this Everton defence, particularly the way they've been playing. Matty Cash likely to be marking Jack Grealish for this one. Let's flip it to Aston Villa. And if we've got a picture of Harvey Elliot, let's whack him on the screen, because this is one of the big signings as far as we're concerned in the world of FPL, because he's become such a good option, hasn't he?
Mate, I'm so glad you mentioned this. Have you done any research for me with your inside lines at Premier League clubs that you have with Villa, and will Harvey Elliott be starting? Because I'm pretty sure I'm transferring him in tonight.
Yeah, he's going to start. So they just said, look, Harvey Elliott is the most likely to start, and he probably will start this game. And I tried to find out where. Nobody really knows. But there's a possibility he plays more centrally than out on the right. And the reason for that would be that Morgan Rogers has been a bit locked up this season.
Yeah.
And they kind of want him to get free of the shackles. What teams have done against Aston Villa so far is they've kind of flooded the central areas, and it's given Morgan Rogers very little space to get on the ball and turn and do what he's done. People have kind of sussed that out, so they don't want him doing that anymore. So what do? Do you bring in Harvey Elliott centrally and then give Rogers a different role out wide? Potentially. I still think he's better in the centre if you can make space there. But then the other dilemma you've got is, who is the third player going to be for Aston Villa as part of that number 10 system? There is some talk that Yeremy Buendia could come into the side. Daniel Marlon is probably still more likely to get the nod. Daniel Marlon doesn't usually play back-to-back games, though. Like, he doesn't have a good record of like keeping his place in the team. So
manager didn't rate him.
I'm unconvinced by it. So it wouldn't be a total surprise, even though they were going to sell him in the transfer window, if Yeremy Buendia actually did come in. But Harvey Elliot, at the price he's at, very likely to start. And I still think probably more likely to play towards the right, but might even play in the centre.
Oh, mate. And if he is a starter, and I think he's going to be as well, then I know we can't expect much. Everton away is a tough game. Villa have been dreadful. But you get Sunderland and Burnley in the next, like in 5 and 7. Like, great fixtures for Harvey Elliott. He's 5.4 million. If he was priced by FPL as a starter in a front three for Aston Villa, he'd be 6.5, 7 million, wouldn't he? Like,
Yeah.
Let's say he's at Aston Villa next year. What's his price going to be after a good season this time around? He's going to be 7.5 even. Like, he could be Morgan Rogers style money. He's that good in terms of goal contributions and potential. We see it for England under 21s.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's £1 million underpriced in this game. So when we see opportunities like that, we should be jumping all over him.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be going there. One other thing to point out while we are looking at the games that we've got coming up, we're about halfway through the show. Thank you, everyone, for your likes and subscribes. But I want to just look at something that go back to Ange Postecoglou for a second, because there is some interesting stats around Postecoglou and the kind of stats of his own team in terms of defensive contributions, and also the stats around what the opponents get in terms of their defensive contributions. And so typically, I saw this stat come up. What happens is that, look, you can see here, during his Spurs era, Ange Postecoglou was known for playing a high defensive line and pressing style. In general, it created more DEFCON opportunities for the opposition players than his own. And this is something to bear in mind now when we see Nottingham Forest play. Like, are we looking at those midfielders or centre backs in the other side of things getting a higher chance of those extra DEFCON points? This was another thing that I spotted on Twitter this week. I thought that's a great little stat. And you can see the difference there. You can see the difference there. Exactly. Yeah.
That playing for Ange, 15% chance of getting DEFCON. His centre-backs at Spurs last season only got DEFCON 15% of the times. To put that into perspective, Nuno's Forest centre-backs last season probably, off the top of my head, got DEFCON 45 to 50% of the time. Like, Murillo got it in over half his games. Milenkovic was just under, I think. That's mad, because if Milenkovic and Murillo both become 15% DEFCON players, then 5.5 million for him is so much money. They should be 4.5. So yeah, absolutely, that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like, this did actually have an influence on my wildcard team. And at the last minute, I've made a change to my team that I've been wanting to make for a while, and I've gone for it. We can actually stick up my wildcard team now if we want, and we can start getting stuck into our team selections. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Do give us a like if you get the chance to. Over 250 of you watching at the moment, so thank you for joining us. If you're watching on catch up, feel free to add questions below, and I'll make sure I go through them later in the day, and certainly before the deadline. Usually we would try to do a deadline stream this season. We just haven't been able to this season because Gianni is in demand by some big broadcasters ahead of that deadline. So here's my team. Look, I've thrown Declan Rice in. I've gone for it. Like, I've been tempted to do this since game week 1. And the fact that there's this DEFCON thing, on top of the fact that he's on set pieces, he gets forward more this season. I just think that at 6.5, I'm going to go for it. And I wanted to have a bit of a differential in that midfield. And so I've decided to throw Declan Rice into the mix. What do you think?
I think it's only right you pick Declan Rice, because every time he gets points, you're going to feel like he was someone you were so close to, you didn't go there.
Yeah.
Now, we all have those players, but most of us have those players around highly owned assets. For you, Declan Rice, you know he's a proper differential. And when his points hit, you're going to celebrate them even more because no one else has got him.
Yes, exactly.
And you're getting on it early.
And that's it. Sometimes in your team, I feel like you should have 2 personal picks. 2 guys that you've just like either spotted something in their play, or you have, an affinity for in terms of the game, and you just have a hunch about them. Like I had Calvert-Lewin last season at the start, and it, for a couple of weeks, it actually paid off, and I actually got a decent rank in the first 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it was. And Rice against Nottingham Forest, particularly, I think is a good way for me to bring him into the fold here, and just to start to see how this works out. If it doesn't work out, then I'll get rid of him. But I just think the fact he's on corners, he'll be on some free kicks. He might even take some direct free kicks. We've seen his shooting ability. I think he's going to grow as a player this season. Getting quite a lot of love in this, by the way, in the comments. There's quite a few other people contemplating him as a pick, or even actually going for it in their wildcards. So I'm pleased to see that I'm not the only one that sees this in Declan Rice.
It's because he's not scored this season. If Declan Rice had scored a goal this season, everyone would be going 6.5 for Rice. We get DEFCON, we get all the set pieces, and we get some goals. And
why
know
are we
he's
always so
too.
reactive? Why in FPL are we always like, because the
crazy.
guy scored last week, we want him this week? Well, the chances are he won't score back-to-back weeks. So you've missed that. So you're now probably waiting another 2 or 3 weeks. Whereas, because Rice hasn't got those points yet, for me, they must be coming. They must be coming. There's no way that this guy is not going to return in the next few game weeks. So that's my thinking. That's why I've thrown him in there. Johan, Rice is brilliant on set pieces. Sigurd says, welcome to the Rice Club, Dean. I've had him from the beginning.
Good man, Sigurd.
Thank you, everyone, for that. Few people suggesting that Eze might take things off of him. Not yet.
Rice has been... Declan Rice has something that Arteta loves. He's good in the air and he's tall, right? For Arteta to put that guy that's good on the air and tall on set pieces is absolute madness. But he did it, and he's proved to be right to do it because Rice's delivery is so good. There is no way. Like Rice, look at some of the ballers in that team that are good at set piece, that would be great at corners. They don't take them because Declan Rice does. That's like Odegaard. I don't know. It's one example. I bet Odegaard takes a great corner. Well, he doesn't have them because of Declan Rice. Like, there's no way Eze's taking corners.
Yeah. Freddie says it's like Paqueta. Until Forest result, no one was even mentioning him this season. And that's it. Like, Paqueta scores a penalty against Nottingham Forest as West Ham score 3 goals in 10 minutes in a game that otherwise was heading towards a dull 0-0. And it's like, okay, so Forest imploded, and now we know that like there were reasons behind that because of how they were perhaps feeling behind the scenes and stuff. Like, I don't trust West Ham just because they scored 3 goals in 10 minutes at the end of a game against Nottingham Forest. Like, I'm leaving them well alone. I don't trust Paqueta. If he goes and puts on a super show against Tottenham this weekend, a team that wanted to sign him in the transfer window, then maybe you start to think about it. But overall, and until Graham Potter's out of that job, I don't really want any West Ham assets, to be totally honest with you, because they're going to be inconsistent. So the gambles I've taken in my team for this week are Petrovic in goal. I still don't know that I'm sticking with Petrovic in goal, but it's just a price point I can afford. And at the moment,
no money in the bank, Dean, right? This is your budget spent, so you can't go up for 5 million. And Petrovic is the best of the 4.5s. Absolutely.
Yeah. That
you've gone light at the back, haven't you? You've gone fairly light at the back. Like, you've got Munoz and then 4.5 guys.
I have, but like they're all players like in rotation, like seem to work out quite well. Like week by week, if I go with the obviously, like there is more temptation to go with the 4 at times this season for people. But Guehi and Munoz come in at such good value, and considering what you get from them both, I think it's worth it. Van der Ven, I'm generally happy with as a pick. Dorgu, I won't pick him for this one, but I do think that at 4.5, he brings still a lot of value. And Van Heck at Brighton, when Brighton are at home, I'll typically be happy to have him for most of their games. So, I'm lacking a premium defender. I haven't got an Arsenal. I haven't got a Liverpool.
Munoz is the best premium in the game, though. You do have him. And he's not even 6 million.
Yeah, exactly.
And mate, you don't have a 4 million, which is great. Because you don't have a 4.0, you can just rotate all your 4.5s, which is you've got an extra good option.
And it even means like a bench boost. Obviously, I wouldn't ideally do it with this team, but like a bench boost, like they would all play. So like I've finally upgraded that as well with my wildcards. My last team, the bench was a waste of time. It was just a lost cause. Yeah. So then we move forward, and I've kept Salah. Obviously, like I think I'll just captain him because probably everyone else will, and it's Burnley. Like my captain picks have been bad this season. It's cost me so far, but I'm just going to stick with him for this one. Dewsbury Hall, I've just it's him or Grealish. I can't fool Grealish. Yeah, toss a coin really on which one of those will get the point. If they were the same price point, I would go Grealish, but like it's Dewsbury Hall just fits better to what I'm doing. Semenyo, I've just loved watching so far this season, and I just think that he is the catalyst for all the good things that Bournemouth are going to do. And I think that they've just got this knack of this system that just works, and the players that they've brought in is still working. So, going to trust Semenyo. And then the other gamble, obviously, in attack is Muniz. But Fulham have back-to-back home games, Leeds and Brentford. Muniz, the main goal threat in that team. I think he's got a high chance of finding an in at least one of those games. So that's the kind of gamble I'm taking. Obviously, the gamble is that I'm going against Joao Pedro here. Like Joao Pedro, a guy that 90% of people are probably putting into a wildcard team right now. I'm not going for it. Further than that, I haven't got a single Chelsea player in my team, which is probably an error, but that's where we are right now.
Oh, okay. Well, look, good luck, mate. I can't really fault it. I do wonder if Harvey Elliot can be shoehorned in, but
yeah, Harvey Elliott's a miss. Yeah,
if we're
and Reinders on the bench is a risk.
Yeah, and you are going to have a few benching headaches moving forward because you've got 15 players here that are all good and all play 90 minutes. Like you've picked a robust squad. I would still have Reinders and Dewsbury Hall, I think, above Elliot if I was on wildcard. I think I would. My wildcard that I put together, I did have Dewsbury Hall, Reinders, and Elliot, but then I didn't have a Semenyo. And I think
one thing that what concerns me about Reinders on the bench here is that Marmoush is not playing for Man City this weekend, and the one game that Reinders shone in so far this season was when Marmoush wasn't playing. And so if Doku starts now, it kind of suits Reinders better. And so, yeah, like FPL said, Reinders could play the 10 this week. So Reinders might yet come into this lineup. And if it did, probably would be at the expense of Dewsbury Hall, I imagine.
Yeah, okay. I just wonder if you went Rice to Harvey Elliott, give you an extra million on your back line, but you could go for one extra premium.
I'm not losing Declan Rice
you
now.
Can't. We've said
imagine when he scores in the first 5 minutes, I'll be kicking myself. Like
you having Rice makes sense. It does, and it's a bit like me. I've banged on about Harvey Elliott since the day he signed for Aston Villa. I saw the signing, and I then said, I think
and you have to stick by it. Yeah. Because when you see these guys score, when they do something, like you want to be on their side. You don't want to miss those moments. And eventually you could, you might stick on them for 3-4 weeks and you're not getting your return. And then you make the decision to transfer them. And that's fine. You've got to live by that decision. But for this game week, if you didn't have Harvey Elliott, if I didn't have Declan Rice now after what I've been talking about, it just wouldn't feel right.
Yeah, no, you're right. Eamon says he's buying Reinders in game week 6. Yeah, that's when everyone's going to make sure they've got Haaland. Dean won't have that problem because he'll already have Haaland in place. We are going to be scrambling around for Haaland in game week 6, guys. He's got Burnley, and there's going to be a lot of people triple captaining him that week. So if you don't have him, you're going to be very scared. Dean, any players on this team that you think could leave your team by tomorrow morning?
Well, it's funny. Someone just mentioned Senesi. Bamboo says I did -4 for Senesi and Semenyo. And Senesi is somebody I've been kept going through in my head.
4.6 though. I bet your defenders are 4.4. You need to find
I think you might be right. Let me see if I've got any.
He's gone up in price. He is definitely 4.6 because I would have Senesi over Van der Ven and I'd have Senesi over Dorgu and Van Heck as well actually. But you can't.
Yeah, I don't have a 4.6. Yeah.
You've also got
you know what? Gee, breaking news. I've got budget. I've got 0.5.
Oh, there you go. You got to get
look at me. Got a secret savings account I didn't know about.
Wait a sec.
So I
if you've
blow
got
my budget.
0.5, you could have Sanchez in goal over Petrovic.
I could, and actually that's interesting because that is something that I had looked at. And then I wondered whether I should just keep the money back. Now I remember my decision making around this. But yeah, so I have got 0.5 in the bank, and so I could get Senesi or I could get Sanchez. So yeah, there is definitely some wiggle room on this one in the coming hours for me.
Tossing on wildcard. He's not a tossing fan, Supan. Oh mate,
there is not a hope in hell If G said to me, "I'll give you £1,000 to put Tosin in your wildcard team," I'd say no.
He'll also be out the Chelsea team in a few weeks, so I'll be conscious of that. Mate, I've been watching the Canelo versus Crawford. Documentary on Netflix. There's a 3-parter. Part 1,
Was
2,
I
and
in
then
it?
part 3 I think is the fight. And I keep watching all their media days. I'm like, could Dean be there in the background somewhere? After you went, did you go to his high altitude camp?
I was in the one in Reno. I don't know what that counts as.
Is it? I don't know. Is that high altitude there? Because he's been.
I think it was actually. I think it might. I think it might have been.
I think it was because it was like 30 days to the fight. He's at high altitude in this place in America, and I was like, I think that's where Dean went.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been. So if they were inside the gym there, then yeah, I would have been in that room. I haven't watched it yet. I'll have a flick through it actually today.
Mate, it's very good. There's 2 lots of 40 minutes. It's very. I mean, I really want Crawford to win the fight, but it's a proper big one.
My boy Canelo now, mate. Now that we're mates.
What was he like?
He was sound, man. Yeah, he was sound. He obviously didn't know me from Adam. Most people in the room he'd at least met before, or seen him on the boxing circuit. But me just rolling up in Reno and getting some of his time. He was good. He was very very respectful in the way that he gave me his answers. And I think it's probably out now on The Athletic. You can, if you look at The Athletic, it's probably out now, a Q&A that I did with Canelo. So yeah, there you go.
He'd better English than he used to, for sure. He's definitely been working on that. And he's losing. That's had to drop down 2 weight classes, I think. But he's proper chiseled, isn't he? His jaw and his box head. He couldn't look more like a boxer.
Yeah, it's funny because he's about my height, but he's obviously his neck's like this and his shoulders are like this. I felt like a little boy, really, even though we were the same height. Mark says Reno is in the desert, lads. I think he's inferring that it can't be high altitude. Well, that's not true, actually. Reno is considered a high altitude city. It's situated at an elevation of approximately 4,500 feet. So there you go. It was Reno, yeah.
Don't believe everything you read, because I'd have believed Mark's comment there. Mark, we usually did believe you're usually the phantom of all knowledge, but not this time. Okay, let's have a look at my team. Dean, good luck on your wild card. It looks like could be a shifting goal or with one of your defenders, but your attacking
there will be probably,
at least a set. There we go. My team on screen. I've put Harvey Elliot in this team already. This version has Haaland in. We should probably show the version without Haaland. There's a second version. There's one with Watkins, because I don't think I'm doing the Haaland move. So we'll show the other version.
You're not doing
first.
Haaland.
I don't think so. If I show you the other team, we've got Elliot and Watkins here, right? This is with one free transfer, and I've got enough money in the bank to use my second free transfer. Maybe we could do a poll. Should Gianni use a second free transfer? Watkins to Haaland. I just think over the next 3-4 weeks, Watkins will punish me. And I don't expect Haaland to get anything against Arsenal next week. I do think he'll get something versus United. And he'll outscore Watkins this week. But next week, Watkins outscores him. And I've got a bit of a long-term plan. If I don't go Watkins to Haaland now, in game week 6, I can go Mark Guiu to Haaland. And I can keep Ollie Watkins if he's been good between now and then. By downgrading Wirtz to say Josh King, I can go Guiu to Haaland in 6, which I think is the loose plan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Aston Villa haven't scored a goal yet this season. You've got 2 of their players in your starting lineup, so that's a gamble because they've got an away fixture. But Everton, they're not always.
Brighton was so good at Everton in game week 2. Brighton was so unlucky not to score. Everton should have conceded 2 or 3 that day, and I just wonder if Villa actually turn up now.
Well, that's why Jordan Pickford's a good goalkeeper in this game, because he does tend to get those save points that are quite key at times when Tarkowski or whoever else goes missing in that defense. But yeah, it's pretty brave of you to go Elliot and Watkins, but I can take your point over the next few games rather as just looking at it as a one-off day. Watkins to Haaland in one go. It's a no-brainer. Haaland is streets ahead, says Native. Matthew says, I'm on Elliot as I shipped all my other Villa players out of my team last week. I don't think you're mad for doing that. And then a few people just giving a lot of love to Haaland. XG is on fire. Go with the form. He's a machine. He's going to destroy Man United. Obviously, he just scored 5 goals against Moldova in midweek, who are a similar level to Man United, aren't they? Moldova. So that is a like for like opponent for Haaland. I'm joking, Man United fans. I'm joking. But yeah, what else, mate? What else is about your team? Murillo, you're trusting that, even though he's going to be playing this line?
Who's that? Murillo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's far from ideal. I've got Williams on the bench and Murillo in my 11, and I have to play one of them. I can't play Esteve versus Liverpool. Usually, I'd go and play my Burnley defender if Forest are going to Arsenal and then Ange's in charge. But, it's just not the week you can start your Burnley defender, is it? So it's annoying, but I'm going to have to start Murillo and just pray he gets something. I don't want to make a defensive transfer with that second transfer just because Murillo has Burnley and Sunderland coming up. A bit like with Watkins. I just feel like Murillo, I keep him for a couple of weeks and be patient with the players you've got. I absolutely want Haaland in this team, and having the money for him and the free transfer for him makes it really irritating. But I just know if I wait to game week 6, I have the opportunity of upgrading Mark Guiu to Haaland for free.
Yeah.
Ollie Watkins to Haaland, I know I'm selling points. I might not be selling as many points, but I'm selling points. If I'm selling Mark Guiu to Haaland, I don't feel like I'm selling any points, right? So yeah, let's see where I go. I think the Elliot move hasn't happened, but I'll click it in the morning. I don't need to click it tonight. There's no price rises on those 2 players. Cunha's not dropping in price. I don't think. I should just check that now.
What if Wirtz doesn't bang in this one? What if Wirtz doesn't return?
Wirtz is almost certainly going to be gone if ahead of game week 6, because I'm going to go Guiu to Haaland, and my cash cow is Wirtz down to a budget mid. And actually, if I go down to 4.5, it makes it easier. So I'll probably go Josh King because it will be a bench spot anyway. So yeah, I'm going to give Wirtz Burnley, and I'll be giving him Everton as well. But then even if he bangs, I think I'm selling him because he's got tough fixtures he goes to Crystal Palace away, and then it's a tough run for Liverpool. And with Champions League and stuff, and I'm happy to sell him. But I expect some points. I do expect some points.
Yeah. Very good, mate. You confident?
I'd say if I get a grey arrow this week, I'll be all right. Fairly happy. It's not a good week for my team. Having to start Murillo, for example, shows how poor my squad is for this week. I'll also have 3 attackers in the Everton-Aston Villa game, which the bookies think will be the lowest scoring of the weekend. So that's great.
I wouldn't worry about that. I don't believe that can be a low-scoring game. I just that doesn't make any sense.
It will be either.
It just doesn't make any sense from what we see. A lot of people have asked about Yeremy Pino in this
great shout
section today.
And
so I'm going to address it.
Got to start him.
Yeah.
Go on.
Good player, man. There's no reason why he can't make an immediate impact because of the style of player he is. He'll play with the fearlessness. And so, I think Pino, if you fancy having a bit of one from a different perspective, then definitely have a look at that one. A lot of people still talking about Josh King. I fully back anybody that's looking to bring Josh King into their lineup because I think he'll get enough minutes going forwards. That's about it.
Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the show. We've still got 5 minutes left to take some questions. Do hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. There's loads of lurkers out there. If you want to come say hi in the chat, you can. Hit the subscribe button. We haven't spoken about captaincy today. I didn't really think it was much of a topic, but let us know in the chat if you're captaining someone that's not Mo Salah. We'd love to flash up some names. So give us your captain and why in 3 to 10 words, and we'll flash them up on screen. Who is your game week 4 captain and why? Mo Salah does not count. Haaland, says Mark. Interesting. I don't mind. If I wasn't going Liverpool burn, if I wasn't going Salah, I'd still go with the Liverpool fixture, Ekatike or whoever you own. If not, Haaland's clearly still a good shout. Yeah,
I am a bit torn on Haaland Salah because I don't think Salah's going to score a hat-trick. I don't see any signs of that really. He's just not. But it's because it's Burnley. I'm just tempted. Ice Cheese going Virgil. What do you think of that?
Love that. I don't like it. No. Captaining centre backs isn't for me.
Jokeres or Wirtz, says Daniel. Yeah, Gyökeres is a brave one, obviously, because like people are unconvinced, but he did score 2 goals at home last time out, and he's playing against a team that there's potential for goals there. He needs another one for confidence, doesn't he? Gyökeres, the Ange new manager, bounce in action. Yeah, exactly. A few people not backing Forest. I mean, if you very football for Nottingham Forest to go and beat Arsenal now. Like just to throw a new narrative like into the season. Like we always think we know what's going to happen, and then the opposite happens. I keep thinking this. I'm like totally writing off Nottingham Forest here, and the new manager bounce probably be actually that Ange goes and beats Arsenal.
That'd be absolutely
Mark
massive, wouldn't it? Clean sheet for the Forest defenders, finally.
And he does it for Tottenham, wrecks Arsenal's early season promise of trying to get the title, and like a little present to Tottenham fans as he comes back into the fold too. Maybe it's maybe Gibbs White scores a really important goal too, and then Tottenham fans get their wish of Gibbs White scoring goals for them. It's actually that he's scoring for Ange, but at Nottingham Forest. So these things have a funny way of coming back around. Quick question from Shub here. Go on.
When you're looking at that question, my next question to you, and I want everyone in the chat to think about, is we're going to name our one fixture, which could be our one team for an upset this weekend.
But okay. I like that actually. Sorry, I was just going to say, Shub said, why is no one talking about Rodri? He was good before the injury, and now not.
Because Reinders exists, and Reinders is cheaper than Rodri, and probably going to get more overall points than him this season. And I just think the Reinders pick means we're not looking at Rodri, who in his own right is perfectly fine. But I just think Reinders at the price point and the average field position he will have in this team and the minutes he'll get, Reinders is just the obvious pick, and you're not having both.
Yeah, I think you're right. Does Bournemouth against Brighton count as an upset or not?
If Brighton win, it does. If Brighton win,
no.
if Bournemouth win, it doesn't because they're at home. But I don't mind that for a Brighton win.
Because that's a funny game. Yeah, as I say, I've backed Bournemouth by bringing Semenyo in, but I can't work out where those two teams are anymore. I guess they're quite. It's really hard to pick a team to cause a shock because
I'm going for Villa.
West Ham, Villa. Okay, yeah.
Villa
they've got to get a goal sometime.
One fancies Villa, and Everton are like, but Everton was so lucky game week 2 at home to Brighton. I just wonder if Everton become a bit complacent, and if Ndiaye is out, I fancy Villa and I fancy Harvey Elliot clearly.
Yeah. A lot of people are fancying Sunderland. A lot of people saying Sunderland to get something at Crystal Palace, and that's a decent shout. Yeah.
Do you feel like Sunderland will get much on the road, Dean? I feel like if Sunderland are going to get a win, it's always going to be at home.
Well, they'll get some, won't they? And I mean, the one thing they've got is this togetherness and this spirit to keep going. So as long as they stay in the games, like they've shown at the end of matches, both last season and this season, that they can come through and get points. So I can see where people are coming from there. I think the upset could be Man United. I think that they don't lose to Man City and maybe even beat them, just because it's weird and it's Amorim against Guardiola, and he's done all right so far against him. So it wouldn't totally surprise me if it's 2-1 to Man United or something like that. But that would be a big result for City to suddenly lose 3 in a row out the first 4 games of the season.
Yeah, it would. Burnley 1, Liverpool 0, says Matthew Perry. That would be huge. Willis has got Haaland. Thank you for the super chat. Does he go to Salah for a hit? Only, Willis, if you see a long-term vision in which you want for your team of Haaland and Salah. If you're going to, don't 4-point hit Salah in and then get rid of Salah or Haaland in a couple of weeks. Like you need to, if you want to make your bed for the foreseeable, I don't mind it. But all I'd say is Wirtz could cover Salah tomorrow. We just don't know, or whenever they play. I would stick with your guns.
Yeah,
but
I agree with
but
that.
If you really want Salah Haaland together long term, then do the hit. Guys, that was loads of fun. Thank you to all our channel members. I can see Paul's been in the chat. Thank you to CH for modding as always. CH, we love you. Thank you very much. All of our regular chasers. FPL Freddy's been in the house. Mackham's been in the house. Ice G, Mark, Mr. B, Daniel. You're all amazing, guys. Thank you. On your way out, hit the buttons. And Dean, when are we back? There's no Monday Night Football, is there?
There's no Monday Night Football scheduled, no. So we are good for Monday, I believe. Obviously, we've got a Champions League week kicking in, so we'll have those considerations. We'll reflect on the game week, but more than anything, we'll start looking ahead to game week 5 and what transfers we'll be making and what dilemmas we face.
Good stuff, guys. Go well this game week. I'm sure you're capping Salah. If you're not, you're brave and good luck. And if you're backing Harvey Elliot and he doesn't start, please don't blame us. Guys, thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next.